Hey, what's up, fam? The inevitable "Who do I want in Jump Force" video is here. This is, the who I would like to be in Jump Force. Logically speaking, when I say that, is I'm not gonna have someone like Natsu here, who's not in Shonen Jump. He's from Shonen Magazine. He's owned by a different company, and I'm not gonna do characters who I think will definitely get in at some point. Nothing like Toriko or Asta or Deku. I'm gonna do characters who there's a chance for them. It may not be the best chance, but that possibility still exists. So for the first series, we're gonna start this out, and that is from the series Kitekyu Hitman Reborn. The one of the first big villains of this series kind of turned almost anti-hero, and that would be Zanza. Zanza, this he was like trying to take the spot from the main character Suna in being the what he thought was the rightful heir of the Mongola family position. He challenged him. They had this kind of uh, tournament battle between his crew and Suna's crew, and they had each version, like each counterpart of the characters, fight against each other, leading up to Zanzis and Suna fighting. And Zanzis is just a badass. He's got these intense, like super destructive flame guns. Like he shoots out like these big beams, and he has like a slight like almost boss like feel to him when he does it, because he'll sit in this like throne and just fire off these powerful attacks at somebody, or he'll summon like his animal companion, because they all at one point get like these animal companions, and he doesn't get a very standard one like you'd think something like a wolf or a or something like that. He actually gets a liger, which a half tiger, half lion is pretty crazy to give the dude as his first one, as his animal kind of put up for it. I've seen there's some other ones, like one guy got like a T-Rex and stuff. Those were also pretty badass. But Zanzis as number 10, I thought he was really cool, and I think it'd be really fun to play him, especially with those sick dual guns. So moving onward is somebody who is relatively new, but I think would be a lot of fun, because even though he was only in one arc of his story, he only really had one fight. He has a very cool power, and it was shown in a very interesting way, and that is from My Hero Academia. That is Gentle. I really liked Gentle. I think he was the most entertaining villain to see fight within My Hero Academia so far. I'm not a huge fan of the villains that they have with kind of really weird powers. Someone like Bad Touch or Overhaul, where it's too easy for him to potentially one shot kill the main character, and the fight really becomes Deku trying not to get touched. Whereas was here, we had a really sick battle, and then you see like you know him using it in various ways, making steel beams elastic while those still carry like the density and the force when they swing back and they smack into somebody, or he's able to rebound like air shock like blasts and stuff from Deku's Air Force attacks. I thought that was really cool. Also, his design is pretty neat. I just really liked Gentle as a character. I enjoyed him. I look forward to his return. So, moving on. Next character is somebody who I don't know. I think out of everyone here has the least likely chance of getting in, and that is because I'm not sure if the magazine owns the series still or not. I think they might have sold the rights away to a different magazine. I don't know that for 100% fact, but that is from Shaman King, Choco Love. This dude was a really weird character if you've read Shaman King, because it was during a period when the main characters were all kind of struggling. They kind of were getting in a lot of positions, a lot of spots with characters who were over them, that were a big threat to them. And this dude shut up, and this dude just kept pumping out these badass powers. Like at one point, he has like this, I think it was like an Aztec jaguar like spirit, and that's what he like puts on him. So he wears like this gold jaguar armor. I don't remember if it's Aztec or not 100%, but he was just a really cool character. Even though he's kind of like he looks a bit like a stereotype. He's got this goofy way that Japanese people draw black guy lips, and he's got an afro. And when he grows up, he looks like one of the most generic black guys ever. But he was a cool character, and liked him. he had awesome fights, he had really cool powers, and he was a bit of a badass. Not a ton to say towards his character, but I would definitely like him to be there. I feel like if I reread Shaman King, I would have a lot more like awesome stuff to say about him. But out of everyone here, this is probably one of the most likely ones that would happen if they decided to take somebody out of this group of 10, and that is from Naruto, one of the biggest favorites of the franchise, and probably the most favorite from what I've talked to. I don't really find anybody who has any ill feelings towards him. And that is Rock Lee. Oh, got a little bit moved off the side. Rock Lee. Rock Lee was just one of those characters who everyone seems to really enjoy. He's entertaining. He's a lot of fun. He's badass. He has an interesting design because you look at him when he shows up and he just looks goofy, and then he's just this sick martial arts dude. Every time that it's like I gotta pump up the game, it gets even more intense, and then later you see like his drunken fist style, and you're just like, how can this dude get even more entertaining? And it was a shame to see him kind of drop off after the time skip, but he's still awesome in my eyes, and I'm sure a lot of people still love Rock Lee and know that Rock Lee versus Gaara is still one of the best fights in all of the anime. So after him, yeah, we've going from some of the mainstreams and moving towards some of the characters within that are a lot of fun. A lot of the later ones are probably the lesser known picks. That Rock Lee and this next one are probably the ones that people would be able to kind of look at as the most mainstream here, kind of like the easiest picks, and that is number 6 from Bleach, Kenpachi Zaraki. Kenpachi would just be awesome to be in the game. He wouldn't need a super intensive like complex move set. He's got like crazy slashes. He'd grab people. He'd stab them. He could throw up the kendo for one of his moves. But for the most part, it would just be a lot of really badass looking fights. You just have a lot of sick hack and slash, and then bust up Nozarashi for his Shikai. And if you don't even have to do his Bankai, but you can throw that Bankai in there and turn him into a crazed berserker for a couple for like a bit. Like his awakening could just be that Bankai where he goes berserker, and it would just be it'd be really cool. I'm stuttering. Kenpachi is kind of like he's kind of like Rock Lee in that sense where the majority of the people who partake in said series end up liking him. Like people really just generally like Rock Lee, and most people generally like Kenpachi. They're just both pretty badass characters, and their designs are really great. Their fights are cool. Like there's not a lot of bad things about them. No one really has many negative things to say about Kenpachi. All right, kind of these last five are gonna be kind of surprises. They're gonna be kind of like a little bit harder, and especially in this next one from a lesser known series that definitely got cut down when it had so much potential, and that is from Siren, Guarana. Guarana was, if you've seen it, Guarana was the number one of the bad guys of what were they called? The Star Commanders. Other than their boss, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I think it was Moroku or something. Other than the boss, Grana was the strongest, and I think that they were pretty much equal, but Grana didn't have like the leading portion system because he just wanted to be like a almost like a modern day no one. He just wanted to wander around and like do stuff. And dude's badass because they're all from a world of psychics. Everyone in the series is like some form of psychic telepath, something along those like the like one dude's like does like portals and shit. One guy like can he uses like clairvoyance. It's all these different kinds, but Guarana has telekinesis to the degree where he can concentrate rays from the sun and create like I think it was like solar flares, like concentrated like specific areas, solar flares, and that was just he just was badass. He actually was really funny too, because you see parts where someone would be like, "Hey, dude, you forgot to I don't know, you forgot to shut the door when he came in," and be like, "I don't want to be number one anymore. You be number one. I've failed you guys," and he get like really depressed. I thought that was pretty funny of him that he was the dude is just intimidating looking. He's a badass. He's got really badass powers. He's great. but that kind of like silliness to him of that he's a very fragile he's just a fragile emotionally like that. I thought was pretty entertaining. And he just the dude was awesome. I wish that he would just get his own spin-off. If one person from Siren got to continue, and I got to pick like continue the story, but just from them, everyone else gets axed. Every other character following would be new. I would pick Grana. So, sorry, a hiccup right there. From an upcoming series that's gonna get an anime soon. I've talked about it a little bit before in my videos, and it would just be so much fun to see in the game. If you've read Kimetsu no Yaiba, you'd know who probably the most entertaining character is, and that is there we go, Inosuke. Inosuke is this dude. He's really weird because he under that pig mask, he's got like this Bishi, really pretty boy face. He just looks like he looks very feminine. Like there's a part where they have to go undercover and two of the characters look like they all have to dress up as chicks and he's like they look like really ugly like girls, but Inosuke looks like a proper like elegant lady and he's just but like personality wise he kind of is like a kid version of Kenpachi. It's almost like he'd be Kenpachi's younger brother or son. He's pretty cool though. He's like this. He's kind of wild. He's going around yelling like pig assault. He like tries to fight a train because he wants to see who's tougher. He's just a goofy dude, but at the same time he's badass. Like his fighting style is just like he's a hack and slash dude with two broken like swords with like chips out of the blade. He's just he's a really cool dude. And if you ever try Kimetsu no Yaiba, whether you read the manga or wait for the anime, I assume most people would like this dude. The dude's great. He'd be a lot of fun in the game, just to roll around smashing up people, just like his sporadic like wild animal style of fighting would just be awesome. And rolling into the top three, we have somebody who had a chance to come back and get crazy OP later on this series, do some who was already at one point the strongest man in his series, but could have came back even more powerful and even more crazy. And that is one of the coolest people within the series of Toriko, and that is Ichi Rou, the first dragon, first son. This dude was awesome. This dude was all around just he looks cool. He's like this big badass dude with this like sick like yellow kind of like slick back spiky hair. He's got this he's got this big crazy mustache and he'll like brag to people he knows how to like wag it, which is pretty funny, but at the same time he's like this big super jacked like powerful guy who's for some reason really like bad with alcohol. He's like a lightweight and yet he's one of the most powerful people on the planet when he was alive. He's like can completely slaughter creatures that are like can destroy countries and like continents, and he's just like uses his energy to form like chopsticks and just smack them around and then pick them up like grains of rice in his hand. Also, his crazy. I'm not even gonna go to try and explain Minority World, but the wacky wildness of that power it's just it's a little bit of a head scratcher, but when you understand like how it works, it's just like goddamn. That part would be the only thing that'd be really difficult to kind of put him in the series is if you wanted to give him a proper Minority World. You could give him like all his crazy chopsticks fighting, and that would look so weird but so much fun in game. And I just think he'd be, in my opinion, outside of Toriko, I would want to pick Ichi Rou as my pick within the series. Whew, so rounding up to the last two. The last two always are they're going to be a little bit more special. So the next one is going to be in color. In color. And if you guessed it, you guessed one of the ones I'd pick, one of the ones remaining after knowing some of my favorite series within Shonen Jump. You'd know one of them is Black Clover. But who do you think I'd pick? You'd probably think I'm picking someone like Mereoleona or Zora because they're my favorite two characters. But obviously, I'm going to pick someone who I think would get in the game. And if they end up adding Black Clover in the game, which I think they will, I think they're going to add all the younger series in there because it just seems like a good idea. Why wouldn't you want to get hype up for all the young up and coming series? But the though I think Asta and and probably Noelle would get in the game. There's one character that I think it'd be like if you added Deku and you didn't add All Might. It'd be like why? their fan favorites is Yami Sukihiro. Yami's just I don't think I've seen anyone have any complaints about Yami's character. I don't think anybody that I've talked to dislikes him. Dude's got cool design. He's like this big badass smoking like aggressive teacher, slightly tsundere who's just chain smoking all the time. He's got badass powers. Like he looks awesome. Just like looking back, if you see like even recently in the fight with Elf Charlotte when he gets like that thorn cage around him, he just drops his little black hole and then proceeds to go into like cut her down, or at least not technically cut her down, but you know what I mean. But he's got a badass move set. You could take most stuff over from something like Quartet Knights, put it in there, just kind of like spiffy it up, make it nicer. But he has a very cool way. Like he's got like uh his Black Blade, where he's just like this big rain like elongating ranged darkness blade slash. He's got his lightless slash for range. He's got his black hole for defense. He's got his like black kind of like layer over him for like guarding, and then he's got his dimension slash. He got his ultimate attack, which is really just like this big linear like heavy slash that would just do a lot of damage. Like that one seems like it would be really easy to do. You just have to make it like that quick and like clean cut, and just add in some of the effects like the keep the angle, like keep the impact of it. That's all you would really need to do. He's probably one of the easier ones to put in there, and it would still be really cool. So all right, final one. Can you guess the final one? Final one special. Special enough that it's not a black and white like panel. It's not a rendered colored image. It's actually a GIF. And who would I add as the final pick? My final pick for my top 10 characters I'd want to be in Jump Force. And that top 10 is none other than Seto freaking Kaiba himself. In my opinion, the best rival in Shonen. In Shonen manga, I think he is, Shonen manga and anime, I think Seto Kaiba is the number one rival. Like, you pull up like some harder stuff, something like Ascending, and you're gonna go berserk, pull up Griffith. If it's just one of those easy, like obvious picks. If you were to say, "Hey, Shonen manga, pick like in your opinion best rival," I'm gonna pick Kaiba. A lot of people would probably pick Vegeta, but Vegeta kind of, in the idea of him being a rival, would just be it. It would just be him. He kind of ends up as like the warm up for Goku most of the time. He kind of gets made a made almost like his towel boy in some ways. I don't like that. I think that the huge gap between the two is the Yu-Gi-Oh creator. I always forget his name off the top of my head. He likes Kaiba. I think the people writing like Kaiba. Toriyama still I don't think really likes Vegeta, and I think that's kind of the hurtful thing with him. Kaiba would be really fun to be in the game for stuff like taunts, this like that dude's laugh and like talking shit. But also like his moves would be really cool. You could have like a guard. You could have something like Ring of Defense. You could have some cool range attack with Ring of Destruction. It would kind of work like a Galactic Donut from like Gotenks, and then you could use that same kind of style to add in Gotenks later, make it easier. And then you could have stuff like Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then his ult could be Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. You could do a lot of cool stuff with Kaiba. And seeing how they got it to work with Yugi, I don't know why they wouldn't be able to work with Kaiba. Just have like cool slashes and like energy attacks. Obviously, I'd say use Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon and not Blue Eyes White Dragon, just because Blue Eyes White Dragon looks a little bit goofier, just because it's an older style. But that's who I'd want. If I had to say out of these people, who would I want to be my number one pick to be in Jump Force? I would pick the man himself, Seto freaking Kaiba, owner of Kaiba Corp, one of the best duelists in the Yu-Gi-Oh multiverse, and just an all-around badass dude. I mean, look at him stand there, not giving, he doesn't even give a fuck about the rain. Look at that outfit. You know, imagine how much water, like how heavy that would be after it's all wet. Probably a ton. So that's my list. Tell me in the comments who you really want to be in the game. Who would you pick out of this list if you got to pick one of these guys to be in the game? But who do you also want to be in the game? Who is it that you would like to throw into Jump Force? And are you going to get this game? Are you looking forward to it? I definitely am. So that's all I have to say about this. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe to the channel. Thank you if you're already subscribed. Check out my other stuff. I do mostly manga and anime stuff, but I will be doing Jump Force stuff. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening.